Describe in single words only the good things that come into your mind. About your mother?
My mother?
Yeah.
Let me tell you about my mother.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
Have you ever been in an institution? Cells.
Cells.
Do they keep you in a cell? Cells.
Cells.
When you're not performing your duties, do they keep you in a little box? Cells.
This causes it. This causes it. This causes it. Information overload. All the electronics around you poisoning the airwaves.
You are listening to the High Tech Low Life podcast, a cyberpunk media retrospective. High Tech Low Life contains language and themes not suitable for all audiences, as well as spoilers for the content being covered. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome back to episode 79 of the Woke and Broke High Tech Low Life podcast with your hosts, Eric and Josh. I'm Eric.
I'm Josh.
Great little film picked out for this week. I am so excited to talk about 2011's Real Steel.
Guy, and just right out of the fucking gate, I want to apologize to both us and our audience deeply. This was theoretically a funny bit, right? Because we had people on the Discord asking for Pacific Rim, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny if we just set it up like it was Pacific Rim, but it was actually this movie that I never saw and nobody ever thinks about, and wouldn't it be fucking hilarious? And then, not only did it turn out that this movie is just fucking boring, but we forgot because our goddamn They Live episode went so fucking long and was so much fun. We totally forgot we need to announce this until like an hour later.
I still did like a mini version of it with my little insert, but yeah, it wasn't the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a whole bit planned out for how we were going to do that, and it was gone by the time we got to, I don't know what, ticking over the 4-hour mark on our recording.
All just to troll the very nice people on the Astronomica Discord that come to the High Tech Low Life channel. But
yeah,
it's okay. I mean, I watched the movie.
We certainly watched the movie twice.
It's not even not really cyberpunk. It's not at all cyberpunk. It really doesn't belong on this podcast whatsoever.
It is substantially less cyberpunk than They Live and Gremlins 2.
Yeah. But you know what? We've come too far to change it now, so we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a second, though. As per usual, we can't give you what you came for right away. We have to tease you with some stuff that either you like or you fucking hate. And as far as I can tell, it's a 50-50 mixed bag on our dystopia talk.
Yeah.
And recommendos. So if you're one of the 50 that hates this part, go grab a drink.
Yeah, come back in.
Let it keep playing.
Yeah.
Don't skip ahead. Set your headphones down. Go grab a drink. Anyway, so let's talk the dystopia of the week. I didn't make a list. Maybe I should have. I don't know. It seems like slow compared to the 2 previous weeks, maybe. But Doge is still dismantling our democracy before our eyes while Democratic Congress people stand outside and say there's nothing we can do. They won't let us in, as one little guy says, no, you can't come in.
That dog is just dunking the basketball, and we can't do anything about
it. Yeah. I would like to see them force their way in. That would be cool.
I mean, that would be something, yeah.
I want to see a congressperson go to jail. You're not going to go to jail for very long. Do something, not like, don't break the law, but, do some civil unrest and represent your fucking constituents.
It would be new and interesting to see them doing something that isn't speaking into a microphone in terms of like, I disagree with this.
Yeah, or going
like
on Instagram or something.
Anything? I mean...
And fucking South Korea, like, gave us the blueprint 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Like, they showed us what we need to do to resist fascism, and it worked. I mean, that's for the short term anyway. It's definitely not working here because nobody's doing it.
It is not.
It is interesting. I've just been reading that I don't know if it's one of our senators actually stood up against Trump, and he's a Republican.
Yeah.
He's the one that I haven't gotten around to calling yet, but he's the one that I was going to if I.
He's in my speed dial because I've complained at him. Well, I've complained to poor office staffers or a gaping void of voicemail many times.
It turns out when you're a senator for Kansas and they close a department that buys like a whole shit ton of grain, that might make a Republican senator annoyed. So
the fuck around find out part actually wrapped around in fucking Moran's brain for once. So that's kind of cool.
I guess that's such a cold comfort, but it's nice to see him maybe lose a little sleep. If nothing else. I don't know. Because genocide didn't make him lose any.
No.
It's a good time. Any good news? We need a word for like good dystopia. No, that's too cheesy.
That's. I think the word you're looking for is utopia.
No, that can't be it.
Okay.
Cumtopia. How's that? No. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Scratch that one off. We'll keep looking. Is there any good news?
Let's see. This is a fun combination of good and bad.
Okay, I like that.
Costco, through their board of directors, said, fuck you with your anti-DEI shit. And then, which I'm like, oh, okay, so that's something. Obviously it's a, giant horrible corporation, but they are standing up a tiny bit for one thing, which cool. And then I think it was yesterday, maybe Friday, a group of 19 attorneys general sent a letter to Costco saying you have to stop doing DEI.
Wow.
Including, you'll be totally shocked to learn, our attorney general, Chris Kopak.
Not at all shocked to learn that.
There's a sentence in this letter signed by 19 attorneys general that's it says I wish I could find it here.
I thought the DEI mandates just applied to government contractors. Is Costco a government contractor?
No, not even a little bit.
Do whatever the fuck they want.
There's a line in this letter that says DEI, basically, we demand you stop DEI policies which businesses and courts have found illegal.
Oh my God.
Like,
let's be clear. This isn't an original thought. I've seen this on the internet a lot, but DEI is just the new way to say the N-word, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So they're so happy they found something and they are saying it constantly.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to CRT? That was a fun one. It's gone now.
Yeah.
Anyway, go Costco? No.
I mean, no. I don't feel good applauding a fucking brand, but I guess we have to take what small comforts we can get.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't know, the political correctness has been the corporate trend for so long. Just because it's been, I guess, what's most marketable for them. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be interesting to see who's first to abandon that ship and who hangs on to see if it's actual reality or not. You know what I mean? Mm. And it's not going to be good or fun or beneficial to anyone, but it'll be interesting.
God, I hate interesting.
I know. It's bad. It's real bad. Let's see. Anything else?
I'm racking my brain.
Oh, this reminds me of one more quick dystopian thing. I've been seeing on TikTok, so you know it's true.
Sure.
I've been hearing Canadians talking about how Americans don't know that how seriously Canada is taking the threats from Trump. Like, apparently, and Trudeau was caught on a hot mic saying this, they're actually planning for the possibility of like real war, not just trade war.
I mean, cool. Like, I I don't know how to respond to that.
I don't either. I was kind of shocked by it, but this Canadian, and once again, it's take anything with a grain of salt. The hot mic thing is real. You can go out and listen to that.
Yeah, I
but
saw that.
and he's definitely taking it seriously. But
hey, who cares? He's not going to be PM anymore, right?
Yeah. They're and that leads me into another thing we need to talk about. But
oh god,
it's interesting. I don't know how true it is, and I don't know who I'd root for in that situation.
I'm gonna stay out of it.
Yeah, good call. Not my business.
Yeah.
Speaking of Canada and Canadians, we got a retraction to make, don't we, Josh?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I had forgotten about that. Yeah, last week, we did that They Live episode, and one of our very, very long-time listeners corrected us on mic because I commented on the church across the street from the homeless encampment in They Live being an African Methodist Episcopalian, and that struck my ear wrong. And so I was like, that's kind of nonsensical. And it doesn't fit with kind of my thinking about it. And Mike, the sailing guy, who you might remember from, I don't know, as long ago as like episode 15 of Creek of the Week.
Well, he was a guest on this show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was a guest on this show, doing When Gravity Fails. Boy, we need to finish that series.
Yeah, we need to get back to that.
Corrected me and said, no, AME is a big thing. And we had a little conversation about it. And yeah, he's absolutely right. I truly, when he sent those messages, I truly have no idea what I have thought AME has stood for the past, I don't know, 40 years. I have been aware of the existence of AME churches. Like, I don't know, it really threw me for a fucking loop.
It's outside of my wheelhouse, so really have nothing to add in the conversation at the time or now. I just trust what everybody else is saying around me.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. I think I must have just been. I really think I must have just been planting, or I must have been stuck on the fact that the Methodist church that a bunch of my family went to was in a constant tiff of one sort or another from the Episcopalians, basically a couple of blocks away. So like that got welded into my brain as a piece of reality as opposed to just a piece of my personal experience. So yeah.
Well, thanks, Mike.
Yes. Good job remembering that, Eric. Jesus.
Yeah. I've got a mind like a steel trap. All right. That's good enough for that stuff. Do you want to talk about recommendations?
Sure. I can do that.
I literally have none. I watched nothing but New Girl and Real Steel, the two genders. So
yes, it really is.
This is going to be on you.
Okay. I watched a show that I had meant to watch years ago and has very recently released its second and final season, a program on Netflix called Mo.
Okay.
It stars Mo Amer, who he was in Rami, if you remember that show.
Yes, I watched the first season of that, I think.
Yeah. And he is a stateless Palestinian dude who lives in Houston with his family and is just trying to make it by and, get a green card because they were granted asylum, 30 fucking years ago when they moved here. And it turns out people that like asylum courts and green cards and that stuff's not simple or fast or easy.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, it turns out it's a whole thing. Anyway, really good show. Very funny. In the season 1 finale, he accidentally gets smuggled into Mexico.
Oh, that's a problem.
And then the first couple of episodes of season 2 are him trying to get back to the U.S. because he can't leave the U.S. I mean,
Yeah, he's got to have to sneak in.
yeah, it's a good show, and the last episode. I'm not going to sweat. The last episode's very good.
So I might watch that. What's it on again?
Netflix.
Hey, I just paid for that so we could watch
Yeah,
something we covered recently.
and I think each season is only like 8 episodes.
Okay.
But yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. Lots of very funny shit. It also, obviously because it's a show these days, kind of has some heart and serious shit going on.
Mm-hmm.
But funny and worth your time.
All right. You got anything else?
Oh,
You don't have to. We can always move on.
I do.
This episode might actually come in under a tight 90.
Yeah, I know.
Tight 60.
Yeah, I would believe it. One other thing I watched, for no particular reason at all. Schindler's List. Great time. Recommend it.
Keep passing on that one.
I hadn't seen it in 20 years. It has more humor than I remembered.
That's good. I mean, okay, I'm back in now.
Yeah.
If it's got some laughs, I'll sit through the sad parts.
Yeah, good movie. If you haven't seen it, maybe give it a shot when you're, half a bottle of wine in, and
It sounds like the worst time.
just
Watch
buckle
Schindler's List.
buckle the fuck up for, I don't remember, 3.5 hours, 3 hours. Good movie.
Okay. You heard it here first, guys. Schindler's List, good movie.
Going out on a limb. Schindler's List, good movie.
Let's talk about Real Steel.
Yeah, let's do.
Oh man, so this is not cyberpunk at all. It does have robots, I guess, and
yeah. I mean, bipedal drones, which I guess are robots.
yeah, there's fighting. It does have Anthony Mackie.
Yeah, it does.
It's pretty cyberpunk.
Yeah, it's got a lot.
It was I was surprised that its rating on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb. It's got a 7.1 on IMDb and like a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes or something.
Yeah,
It's not a bad movie. It's just the kind of movie I hate.
I'm going to use interesting, and I don't actually mean interesting. It's curious. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a curious example of a movie where I can't point to anything that it did wrong other than like existing.
Yeah, it's just a very boring and overly used framework of a film.
Yeah, it's like everything in it is totally fine. Somehow unlike say They Live or a number of the other movies we've covered on this show where we watch it and we go, yeah, this has flaws, but everything adds up to be much greater than the sum of its parts.
Mm-hmm.
I think this movie is less than the sum of its parts somehow. Because there's nothing I can point to with this movie that is bad.
But I can't really point to any of its parts that are good. I feel like a whole bunch of crappy parts added up to not even crappy, just mediocre, bland parts added up to a bland movie. I don't know.
And I don't know. It's a real weird piece of business. Also, the fact that apparently there are people fucking clamoring for a sequel. The director of this movie, Sean Levy, had one of the huge hits of last year. Eric, do you know what it was?
Not a fucking idea. Dune?
Just think about this movie and what the big movies of last year, what would this movie, this heartwarming Rocky with a kid?
It's Brutalist. The Brutalist. That's what it was.
It is Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh fuck! I was close. They're almost the same movie.
Yeah, you were close. Both of them have fuck. I can't remember his name. God damn it! The lead guy in The Brutalist being sexually assaulted by Guy Pearce.
Adrian Brody. Yeah. God damn. I was gonna
Man.
either say that or I was gonna make a joke and say it was the Deadpool actor, but that was blanking too. So I was just stammering there for a minute.
Yeah. And apparently on the press tour for Deadpool and Wolverine, people asked him about when are we going to get a Real Steel sequel?
Wow.
Which is like, I really wonder if this movie is not one of those very much generational things where like, I don't think until like 2 weeks ago, I don't think I had thought about this movie even once since I'm certain I didn't even click on a trailer for this in 2011.
Yeah.
So it effectively does not exist. And I've never heard anybody say this movie exists. Like, nobody has ever talked about this movie in my presence once.
I heard it referenced as a joke recently on a podcast or something, but that's it. It was completely to make fun of it.
So, yeah, I wonder if this isn't a generational thing. Like, I don't know, people who are now in their mid-20s who were 11 when this movie came out. Like, maybe it was a big thing for them?
If you're in your mid-20s, hit us up and let us know. Maybe some of our listeners liked this. I will just say I hate movies with kids in them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not all of them, but generally. And I hate like super predictable movies. And maybe some people like that stuff because they like to know what to expect. Yeah. They like the comfort of it. But like once the kid is introduced, you can see where this is happening. Okay, they're going to be at odds for a while and they're going to be fighting each other. And the scumbag is going to continue to be a scumbag. And then over time, they're going to become close. And there's going to be a montage involved, definitely, because you can't actually show that. You're going to show it via montage. And then something's going to happen that tests that with the scumbag is going to go back to their scumbag ways. And then they will get an opportunity to redeem themselves and everything will be fine and everybody will be happy in the end. And it's like, God, it's happened so many times.
Yeah. I wish my first viewing of this film had been my notes viewing because I knew
you would have had to do it twice.
Well, yeah, that too. But like literally, I don't know what, 12 minutes into the movie, I was like, oh, I see exactly what is happening with this. Okay, the kid has been introduced. Okay, yeah, okay, so that's his kid. They're gonna rescue some busted ass robot. I mean, it was painfully predictable for me.
The only sparks of interest I had, and you probably noticed this too, there were a few moments in this movie where they hinted that this robot is sentient and like trapped inside its body. And I'm like, now we've got a movie working. But it was never expanded upon. Nothing ever happened. Maybe it's just like when you look at your dog and you're like, that dog knows who I am and loves me, when it's really just like, this is the guy who gives me food.
Yeah, it's like, when you say something to your dog and they look at you and give you like a weird look, like they disapprove or something.
She knows. She understands.
Like, yeah, she's got it.
But no, she doesn't. She's just hoping you give her food.
It just happens to be one of, 20 facial expressions that dog's face can make. And it just cycles through them randomly.
Speaking of dogs, this movie starts with just like graphic animal violence against a bull.
That was a little weird.
I knew as I'm watching, like, the bull's going to come back and win. That's another formula for this movie. If Hugh Jackman's robot starts strong, he will lose. If he starts losing, he will win.
Yeah.
Or at least win the spiritual battle.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, this movie stars Hugh Jackman. I don't remember his name. Chase? Is that it? Something like that? Not important. Who cares? Fake Rocky. I'm going to call him Charlie. Okay. I'm going to call him Wolverine for the duration of this show.
Okay.
And
I'm going to call him that dude from Reminiscence.
Yes. Oh yeah, he was on our show.
Yeah, this is Hugh Jackman's second appearance. Will there be a third? Wait and see.
Good question. I can't think of any, but sure.
Can't either.
I don't know. Oh, wait, is Deadpool cyberpunk?
No,
not really. Yeah.
I mean, I would say the X-Men are more cyberpunk than Deadpool.
Oh, actually, there is some there is some kind of cyberpunky shit. Not a lot, but some in Logan,
Right.
which is secretly a Western.
I mean,
by the way, nobody has ever come up with that before, but I discovered
ooh, you came up with that
Logan
yourself?
is secretly a Western.
Yeah. I mean, the concept of Wolverine is a little bit cyberpunk. He does have metal in his bones.
Yeah.
So I guess if we really wanted to, I'm so
We
sick
don't.
of comic book
Yeah,
stuff.
we don't really want to.
No, we don't.
Okay, so anyway, I knew this movie was going to be a fucking problem the instant I hit play because, like all great cyberpunk movies do, it began with a kind of, I don't know what genre you would quite describe it as, somewhere in that space between folk and country, some kind of Americana acoustic guitar riff. And
I would call it country, but
okay. I mean, it's kind of in that vein though, right?
yeah.
Alt
country, maybe.
Yeah, kind of an alt country. Guy singing about being on the road and shit. And then we see a truck, and it's the world that we know. It's like it's effectively 20 miles west of my house, right?
Yeah. I think it's supposed to be Texas, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's the most cyberpunk thing we've ever seen. And, every cyberpunk movie starts with alt country and a truck from the 1960s driving down country roads.
Hang in there. They could just be bending the genre a little bit. On its face, kind of lovable scumbag drives robot around dystopian American Midwest to stage robot fights. Cool concept.
It's like it could be a very fun, cool cyberpunk movie.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it is not.
Well, in order to make this fit into our show, we're going to have to fantasize ways that it could have been, because what we've got is a dumb fucking Spielberg movie.
Yeah, dude, that is very harsh on Mr. Spielberg.
He produced it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so Wolverine's driving a really nice fucking like 1960 or early 60s International, like heavy duty transport truck with a box on the back. I just want to talk about the truck for like the entire runtime of the movie because it's the best thing about it. It's great.
I agree, but I don't think our listeners
would
be interested in that.
Okay, I'll stop talking about the truck.
Let's talk about robots punching bulls.
It has 4 windshield wipers, dude. And like 4 separate windshields. It's cool as hell.
Like,
okay,
windshields by your feet. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it was a really cool design. Anyway, so he's driving through the country. And then he's going to a county fair. And this is the point at which I start texting Eric. I'm like, oh God, I've made a huge mistake. What have I done? So he goes to this fair, and you're like, what the fuck is
this scene could have existed in Hardwired.
It could have. I think it would have been entertaining and interesting had it.
If this whole rodeo had just been blown up by a Thunderbird blasting through it.
Yeah. Okay, so he goes to a county fair, and we learn immediately that he's a grumpy guy. He sleeps in his truck. He wakes up because his phone is ringing, and it's a guy he owes money to. And he fucking like kicks a bottle of beer as he's sitting up. And then he's grumpy at some like little girls who are walking by outside the truck who are like, oh, is that Ambush? His robot is named Ambush. And he's like, yeah, that's Ambush. $5 for a picture, bitch. And they're like, we ain't paying you, and take off. And we're like, oh yeah, he's a grumpy curmudgeon. And yeah, then Kevin Durand shows up, who is one of, I don't know, like, he's one of few bright spots in the movie. He's not asked to do a lot in this. He is
a weird looking guy.
Yeah, he is a character actor that has a very distinctive looking face.
Yeah.
And he is in a ton of shit And even when it's like, because he has played like 9 million fucking soldiers and shit like that and cops.
Yeah.
In every movie that I've ever seen him in, he's trying to do something kind of interesting with it, like just weird looks or, so I was happy to see him. And he's one of the highlights of the film. He's just being a dumb hick former boxer rodeo promoter with giant veneers.
Yeah, I'm looking at what else he's been in. I feel like he's been in something else we've watched, but I'm not seeing it.
He was in one of the Wolverine movies.
He's in a lot of them.
Was he? Okay.
But yeah, I thought it was in something we've actually covered, but
yeah,
perhaps not.
Oh yeah, he was in the Planet of the Apes movie last year. Yeah, he was fun. He's voice only in that, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's in Dead Like Me. Remember that show?
Sweet. Yes, I love Dead Like Me.
I just recently watched a YouTube thing talking about that show, and I don't know, it was just what went wrong, and I don't know, it's a good show. I missed it.
That movie was kind of fucked from jump. That show was kind of fucked from jump. Just even though it was great and I loved it, that set up, like, we didn't know it at the time, but Brian Fuller, as much as he's a genius, very hard to work with from a studio perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Bunch of actors on there who are great, but also pains in the fucking ass.
One of them
killed a guy.
Yeah. That's
a kid?
Kid, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Accidentally.
Yeah. But boy, did she have good hair.
She did. She was great on that show.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's stop talking about Dead Like Me.
So Kevin Durand is the guy who's running this, and apparently this robot's going to fight a bull, theoretically a 700 or 800 pound bull. Turns out it's like a 200 or 2,000 pound bull, which I honestly have no idea what a 700 or 800 pound bull looks like.
Be a pretty little bull. Wouldn't be an impressive fight.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it would be much.
Yeah.
And
a bull the size of 10 of my dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a lot, but if you like really taped them together, it wouldn't be that big.
Also, it would not be able to move very well.
It would be a horrifying abomination that I wouldn't mind, that I think could take that robot, honestly.
Possibly. And then because Wolverine's hard up for money, and one thing that you see throughout the entire rest of this film, he is going for the short money, the short big money. He'll take the worst odds possible if there's a chance he will earn slightly more money.
Yeah, no matter what the downside is, even if it means getting his skull crushed.
Yeah, so they decide, winner take all, $20K for the bull versus the robot. Shockingly, the robot loses.
Starts out strong, punches that bull right in the fucking face.
Yeah, and this section of the movie did make me wonder, like, really how much of this type of physical damage could a bull take?
It would have died on the first hit. Like he sweeps under his head and then body slams his entire robot bulk on top of him.
It seems like it would fucking die, like a couple of times. Yeah,
this was a D&D video game situation where the bull had HP. So,
yeah. Okay, so robot loses, and then Wolverine runs away.
Yeah.
As he's running away, he gets cornered by some guys that he thinks are thugs from a different guy he owes money to. And it turns out they're process servers. His ex-girlfriend is dead, and they had a kid. And his girlfriend's sister wants custody and is very rich, and he goes to this court date. And her husband is played by James Rebhorn, who's a great actor, died a couple of years ago. He's been in 9 million things. He is given less than nothing to do in this movie.
Yeah.
It's honestly impressive how little he is asked to be in this film.
Yeah.
He says, she really she's my wife. She really wants to take this kid. But here's the thing. We have long planned. We're going on vacation to Italy for 2 months. I will give you $100,000 if you, we will buy this child from you if you can take the child for 2 months while we're in Italy.
You're being generous to Wolverine here because
Oh yeah,
Wolverine is the one that offers
Yeah.
the deal. He's like, you give me $100,000, I'll watch the kid for 2 months, and then you take him off my hands forever.
Yeah. Don't forget
Because
throughout the
Rip Torn's
next.
the whole time is like, or Marvin, whatever the old man, he's like, I mean, I guess I'll do it because it makes my wife happy, but he's not thrilled to give the money, which makes it funny in the end when Wolverine goes, I don't want your money. And the guy's like, cool. I didn't really want to give you the money in the first place.
Awesome. So, it all works out okay. Wolverine's going to take this kid and get $50K up front.
Ooh, that's a hell of a babysitting job.
Yeah. He goes to I don't even know how to describe Evangeline Lilly in this movie. I mean, I guess she's kind of the love interest.
Yeah, they kiss at one point.
They do. She's just a secondary character that drops out of an hour and 15 minutes. Oh, yeah. Which reminds me, remember in the future that Kevin Durand was in this movie. It's going to be another hour and 15 before he comes back.
I will say they did the movie's competent. Because I really almost had forgotten about him when he popped up out of nowhere. I'm like, oh yeah, that guy. So everything they did, they worked as intended, I guess. I mean, you knew when he ran away from Kevin Durand, you're like, okay, that guy's going to come back. But they do enough to distract you from that throughout the rest of the movie. Anyway,
this movie is a very competently prepared version of a dish that you inherently don't like.
Yeah, sure.
But I mean, it really, or at least for me, it is.
Like you can eat it, you're not going to die, but you're not getting seconds, and you're kind of just hoping it'll be over soon.
Yeah, it's like, wow, I'm trying to think of what a good example for me would be. I got nothing off the top of my head, but like, oh, this is a very well-made version of blah, blah, blah meal. And it is just not it's not a flavor palette and texture palette that I enjoy. And, I can recognize this is skillfully done.
Yeah.
So, Wolverine goes to Evangeline Lilly's gym. She is the daughter of the guy who trained him as a boxer because he was once a boxer. We'll hear more about that later. He also dated her in the past, and he's buying a new robot. Where to get the money?
She's like a boxer, like a boxing trainer's daughter, but she also works on robots, and she owns a gym that nobody's ever fighting in, but yet it's also a robot gym, and nobody boxes anymore.
That was one of the things that kind of on my second view of the movie, I was like, what exactly is the existence of this gym for?
Also, he owes her rent, but he sleeps in his truck even when he's there. And like, what is he paying her rent for?
All his robot parts? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
It's. I could not I don't know. It would have made a huge difference had we seen I don't know, a handful of people fucking jumping rope or hitting speed bags in the background.
Even if robots, or if some robots hanging up with like boxing gloves on or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was very weird.
Like this is a gym, but it just looks like a body shop.
It's a gym that looks like a body shop with a boxing ring in the middle of it that has a bunch of file boxes in the middle of the boxing ring.
And she's like completely dependent on him and his rent to keep this building. Because she's like, I can't keep this open if you don't pay me rent. It's like, maybe you should not own an empty vacant gym.
Maybe you should not own a very large piece of real estate in a downtown area with fucking granite front.
Where you're storing old file boxes.
Yeah, it's a weird setup.
Her story's confusing for sure.
It certainly is. So, he's buying this new $45,000 robot with the money he got to buy her because James Rebhorn is buying the child from him.
Yes.
And then James Rebhorn shows up and says, "Here, have a kid." And
that's when we meet Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, and the kid's, he really is very Anakin Skywalker coded, like down to haircut.
He just looks exactly like all 11-year-old white boys look.
Yeah, pretty much. Whoa, I am I have just now clicked his
It's
IMDb.
recent picture. Yeah,
What in the shit? Okay.
he's changed. He's grown up.
Yeah, apparently. Oh, he was young Thor as well.
He looks a lot like Rowdy Roddy Piper now.
I can see that. Huh. Okay. Anyway.
Live Remake Inc.
Yeah. Okay, so he gets this kid, and this kid's like, fuck you, man. I mean, you know, it's classic fucking kid shit. I don't like, if you've seen a kid in a movie, it's this kid.
Yeah, he's precocious. He's stubborn.
Yeah, and it turns out he's actually
cliche.
He's actually a really big robot boxing fan. And
this movie could star Kevin Costner and be about baseball, and it would work.
yeah, really, it could. So we unbox this robot that Wolverine bought, and it's some robot that did a really big fight, or used to be like a big league contender and then disappeared. I don't know. It's called Noisy Boy. It's kind of cool looking. It's like a samurai, I guess, with LEDs on it.
Sure.
I don't know. It's fine.
Much fancier than Ambush was, for sure.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's no fucking way you could buy a piece of equipment like that for $45,000, considering what everything costs these days. But sure.
Yeah. Apparently, in the real Steel universe, inflation never hit.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, they were seriously. Oh yeah. By the way, this movie is set theoretically, I don't know, mid 2020s ish.
Feels like.
And it came out in 2011. Like, I had it paused so I could take some notes or something on the box that Noisy Boy came in. And like all the custom stickers and shit on it are from like 2013 and 2014. So they went into the future, but not far enough into the future to make any goddamn sense.
Yeah, at one point, Evangeline Lilly is giving like a history or like a future history, and she explains when boxing went out of vogue.
Yeah.
Or maybe Hugh Jackman was saying this.
I
don't know.
Yeah, at the junkyard.
Boxing went out of vogue because we wanted more and more violence. So what did we do? We got machines to be more violent.
Uh-huh.
It's not. I don't feel like it's violence if it's machines beating on machines.
Shut up.
Although I gotta admit, man, I have spent hours watching BattleBots things on YouTube, so I would be into this if this was a real thing. I say bring it on as a sport.
Bring it on. The Queen Latifah.
Bring on robot boxing and bring on competitive cheerleading as what's already exists as a sport. But let's make it more mainstream. Both of them.
I was thinking of Set It Off. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't know which one's which. I might be wrong. At any rate,
right.
I want giant robots in cheerleader outfits, like doing a pyramid
giant.
And then fighting each other. No,
not giant. That's one of the mistakes I made with this movie.
Large sized.
Yes. I thought I was under the impression that this movie starred like 100-foot tall robots.
Yeah, I was thinking robot jocks too.
Yeah.
It's not robot jocks.
No, we have failed in our job. Ambush, this robot boxer is 10 feet tall,
if that, 8 or 9 probably.
Adam, the one that we're going to meet in a little while, that's going to be like the main robot character? ? Is like.
7.5.
Yeah,
there's some basketball players that could.
Yeah. I was real disappointed when I figured that out. Like, oh, these robots are small.
Yeah, we should have done robot jocks. That would have been better.
It really would have. Anyway.
I think that's more cyberpunk too. Like, I think there's a whole dystopian aspect to that movie, if I remember right.
I mean, I haven't seen it for 35 years.
I can't wait to do robot jocks.
But yes, it is a dystopian future in a wasteland. So cool. And, the main character cannot read.
Why didn't we do that one?
There were 2 reasons we didn't do that. Number one, it was another goddamn 80s movie.
It's true. We were heavy on 80s movies lately.
We try to kind of bounce around in time a little bit, audience.
Yeah. We don't want to give you we don't want to be the 80s movie podcast.
Yeah. It was 80s movie, and also there was another reason. It's gone now.
That's the only reason.
Oh, this because not only is this not an 80s movie, this is very chronologically close in time to Pacific Rim.
Oh yeah.
So the setup for movie from the early 20 teens,
To be fair, we put more thought and effort into picking this than we do to pretty much any other property we do. So
Yeah, I made a huge mistake, and I apologize profusely. Okay, so we get this fucking robot. It looks like a samurai or something, and it has voice recognition, which, I don't know, thinking through the logic of this movie.
it's a terrible way to command a robot.
Yeah, it seems like a very stupid way to command a robot because you have to say right uppercut and then the thing right uppercuts, as opposed to, I don't know, pressing a button on a pad.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah.
But they say it's like pretty high tech.
Apparently so. Who gives a shit? This movie doesn't make any sense. All right, so so basically the kid's like excited, so he's gonna.
This is pod racing.
Yeah,
he says that, right?
Yes, that was this movie.
Okay.
So they're gonna hit the road and fight this robot. Some robot fights. So we go to the original Ford Model A plant, which now is called Crash Pad, maybe something like that. I don't know, where they have robot fights.
I think RoboCop got in a shootout here.
Yes. Yeah, I think he did actually. And Eminem is playing, and then suddenly
Eminem plays a lot.
Your pal, my pal, everybody's pal, Eminem's pal, Anthony Mackie shows up.
I do love a good Anthony Mackie.
I believe I first saw Anthony Mackie in 8 Mile.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was like the, I don't know, villain, if I remember right.
All I know is while I'm sitting here with IMDb up for this movie, it's like showing other movies or shows related, and it's showing clips of Twisted Metal with Anthony Mackie, and it just makes me wish I was watching the second season of Twisted Metal.
That was a deeply dumb show that was pretty fucking fun.
Fucking loved it. I think we recommended it when I watched it before, but I can't wait for the next season. I hope they're doing it.
Yeah.
Really stupid. Really fucking stupid.
It's deeply stupid. Yeah, so Anthony Mackie is in his, I don't know. I was actually, when I was watching this movie, I was like, man, Anthony Mackie had like a long fucking runway to become a huge guy.
Yeah.
Because this was even like, I think 3 years before his first Marvel movie appearance.
Captain America, right?
One of the Captain America movies. Winter Soldier?
I think the first one. I don't know. I never saw it.
No, the first one is set in fucking World War II. There are no black guys in World War II.
That's gonna have to fact check you on that one, but sure.
I promise you, in the Marvel Comics universe. Yeah, this is like, I don't know, 2 years after his role in Hurt Locker, where he's a supporting.
Yeah, he's in Hurt Locker. He's good in that.
Yeah, like if you look at the dude's IMDb, he's been a guy where I have always been happy to see him for now 25 fucking years.
It doesn't feel like he's been around that long.
No, it really doesn't, because he had this huge runway of like 49 parts where he's either the hero's best friend or like the second villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fucking great. He's Anthony Mackie. He's selling it. He's charismatic and fucking yelling shit and taking bets on robot fights. And that's what we're here for, because nothing's better than robot fighting in this movie. Like, what if we just looked at computer-generated slop? Then we'd have a robot fight.
I was going to say, it's worked for Transformers.
Yeah, it has. All right, so, and this is the point at which we understand that Wolverine's strategy is always to take the very risky short-term high money.
Yeah.
The kid is saying, like, why don't we take an undercard bout? And like, because, you know, you've had this robot for 4 hours and haven't worked out the voice recognition thing yet. And he's like, no, we can get the fucking, you know, we can get on the main card and make slightly more money.
Yeah.
So, they do a robot fight. It's a couple of CGI robots.
They start off doing a really good job, so you instantly know he's going to lose.
Yeah. And apparently one of the things they did with this movie, which is interesting, they had Sugar Ray Leonard, who is a great fucking boxer, was a consultant on this movie, and what they did is for the fight scenes, they had boxers with, I don't know, I guess motion controlled dots all over them in, I don't know, fucking green jumpsuits. Basically boxing. And then they superimposed robots on them.
Well, I mean, they look real. There's
Like,
nothing. CG is good. 2011 CGI.
Yeah, and that's a cool and interesting technique. And it's fine. You've all seen boxing movies before.
Have you seen robot movies? Just put them together. And...
Yeah, it's fucking Rock'em Sock'em Robots, man.
Wow, it really is. They should have called it. They should have just licensed that.
Was there? I know at least there was going to be a Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie in the past 15 years. I don't know if it ever came out, or maybe this movie just stole all the money.
Maybe.
Anyway, so this fight sequence is fine. Wolverine's robot loses, and this is where we get the beginning of the absolutely crazy amounts of product placement. The robot
there's a lot of
the robot controllers are made by HP. The headsets are by Beats. The kid drinks gallons of Dr. Pepper.
Gallons of it. Being robot fighting arena, that was good.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't. I saw how many fucking billboards were up in the arena at the end of the movie, and I just gave up immediately.
Yeah, I saw Sprint, Capital One. There was a whole bunch of shit.
It's apparently all the robots are lubricated with royal purple oils.
Nice.
Just like high-end race cars.
Yeah, that's what I use for my lubrication.
Robot gets the shit beat out of him because Hugh Jackman didn't give enough of a shit to read the instruction manual on how his new robot worked.
He's careless.
Yeah. So we leave. And the kid hates burgers, which is treated as though it's a character, though it's a point of interest.
It's not.
It's not.
Fucking starving, though. Do you have any burgers back there?
I do not. We are fresh out.
Damn it.
So then they go to a junkyard with a Saturn V rocket in it. They break into this junkyard with what seems like a really nice, cart dolly thing that has a motor in it.
Yeah, it's a useful little item.
Yeah, I would love that thing.
You could probably sell that for a few grand.
Yeah. So,
money's so worth so little. They're doing all kinds of shit for $100, and
it's wild.
I won't leave my house for $100 at some point in my life.
It's a stretch. I'm like,
but maybe it would have been 2011. It was a different time.
Yeah, that's true. So we go into this junkyard, and it's raining, and Wolverine explains the context of boxing to the kid, which is basically what Eric said earlier. Boxing was big, and then MMA got big, but they still wouldn't let people kill each other in the ring, so they invented robots to do it and kill each other in the ring.
And this makes no sense, and it actually would have been better if we just hadn't explained it and let your own mind fill in the blanks. Yeah,
people wanted true, no-holds-barred fights, so we let the machines kill each other, which, I don't know, this would serve as a logical structure for the film if we had any indication that the robots were alive, other than the vague hints that this specific robot we're going to meet in 2 minutes is alive.
Speaking of which, I know you're not expecting this, but this junkyard that looks like a big flat plane full of trash has an enormous cliff on one side of it.
Yes, it truly does. And the child falls off of the cliff.
It's what the fuck? Why would you build your junkyard here? It appears to be on top of a dam.
Yeah, right? It is truly the logic of how this is set up is just mind-bending.
There are so many fucking ways that a child can hurt themselves in a junkyard and need to be rescued by an adult, which is the whole point of this cliff.
Falling down a 200-foot cliff.
You do not need an enormous wet water slide cliff.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. Have a fucking car fall on him or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Sorry, he's falling down this cliff, and he ends up hung up on this fucking robot arm that's sticking out of the mud, and then Wolverine saves him. And he's like, oh shit, this robot saved my life. I want to keep this robot. And Wolverine's like,
That's a piece of shit. Fuck that robot. That
What the
robot
fuck?
sucks. You're an
what
idiot.
the fuck ever, I'm going back to the truck, moron.
Fuck you, dumbass kid. Dig it out with your hands. I'm not even giving you a shovel.
Yeah. The kid digs it out and takes it away. They go back to Evangeline Lilly's place. Evangeline Lilly's like, hey, Wolverine, you're in a real self-destructive spiral here.
Hey, good news, Josh. We just passed the tight 60.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
If this goes longer than 90, though, I'm going to be upset.
Yeah. All right. So Evangeline Lilly's like, hey, Wolverine, you're a fuck up. You're in the self-destructive spiral. So this is something I'm going to need you to come around on at the end of the third act.
That sounds like a good time for that. I'm going to put it off till then.
Yeah. And we clean up the robot. We find out it's some
sparring bots, the C-130 sparring bot or whatever the
whatever. And it has a shadowing function, so like it'll watch you and just do whatever you're doing, I guess. And who cares? Its name is Adam.
It's always a problem when people introduce technology like this because they use that shadowing function. It's like Chekhov's shadowing function, right? They use it in the end, but also every robot should have. It seems like a basic function that every robot should have.
Also, just to get into some commentary at the end. Okay, so in the end fight, the robot's voice recognition thing dies.
Is this the time for this?
Yes. Okay. This movie fucking sucks. Who cares?
We can't. There's still an order of operations.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. Just because we got onto the shadow function.
Anthony Mackie was in Pain and Gain. I think that's the first place I saw him.
He was fucking great in Pain and Gain.
That's where our opening show mantra that nobody hears comes from.
Yeah, that's true.
Only guests know what that is.
Yeah. I had forgotten that that's where that came from, but yeah, 100% is.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing this we're doing this final fight, and we've talked a little bit about how the fucking robot control, like the voice control shit, is dumb. The shadow boxing thing in the end fight is deeply dumb as well, because Wolverine is doing this like he's he's standing in the middle of fucking nowhere punching, and then the robot punches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every fucking move that Wolverine makes is so deeply slow. I mean, like, he would get punched the fuck out in seconds in a Silver Gloves tournament, which is like 11 to 14-year-olds. I mean...
Well, he's got to compensate for the robot's size and weight, right? I don't know. That's the...
I mean, that shouldn't be the case.
You're right.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it's dumb. This movie is not good. Not for the usual reasons that movies aren't good on our show. So, we got this robot. He's cleaned up. Its name is Adam. We're going to take this fucking robot on the road and fight him. And then we see this big fight where the villain robot is introduced, as well as the villain Russian lady and the villain Japanese guy.
Yeah, the Ivan Dragos.
Yeah,
of this movie.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's a big robot, and I don't have anything to say about these people. They effectively don't exist. They're just plot devices.
I don't know, when they introduced the Japanese guy, that was pretty. I actually laughed out loud because she's like, what do you say about the legendary creator of this robot? She goes, well, why don't you ask him yourself? And like the crowd parts, and this Japanese dude with like his hair teased up super high and sunglasses on comes walking out in slow motion. I was like, that's pretty anime.
He looks like an anime villain, and then says no comment, and that is like, yeah.
So anyway, they were trying. The actor was giving it his all.
Yeah, I mean, they had nothing to do with anything.
Carl Yune. What else has he been in? Let's take a look.
Oh, I think he's been in a few
Speed Racer, Anacondas, The Hunt for the Blood Orc. I guess it's just the Blood Orc.
Oh, all right. Well, that sounds fun.
Memoirs of a Geisha.
Oh, well, I saw that.
That's it. Not always in that show Arrow. I watched some seasons of that. It's 19 episodes of it. Probably saw him. He's in Magnum PI TV series remake. We've talked about that recently.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, enough of that. Keep going.
All right. So, they see this big robot. Nobody has ever gone more than 2 rounds. And you're like, oh, this is obviously the robot that at the end of the movie, the Adam robot is going to go through the whole fight and is going to be exactly like Rocky, where
he won't win.
It'll still lose, but it'll win the moral victory and just having stuck it out that long.
Rocky has established that that's more emotionally fulfilling than actually winning. So
and that's why the first Rocky movie is capital G great, while the others can be fun, and the first Rocky movie is actually great.
Well, yeah, because they did it.
Yeah.
I mean, they established the idea.
Yeah. Not winning is a winning formula.
Yeah.
So, we see this fight and we're like, oh man, this is obviously the robot we're going to fight in the end. And Wolverine talks to Anthony Mackie, and Anthony Mackie says, you got a shitty robot? Go to the shitty robot fight at the zoo.
Yeah.
And then we basically go to the next day. Oh, although he does give the kid a burrito this time.
Yeah.
Because the kid hates burgers.
Remember that?
Yeah, this is a character note. I don't know.
Still hungry, though, and would also fuck up a burrito. So if you've got one of those back there.
Fresh out. Sorry. So, we go to this fucking zoo in the middle of nowhere, and we fight a crazy robot that's run by a cool guy, and there are a bunch of fucking crazy mutants in the crowd, and this is like the lowest tier of...
It is, but this is the most cyberpunk this movie gets.
It really is, yeah. This robot fucking rules.
Yeah, it is the coolest robot.
It's got a real dumb face.
Yeah, and a big fucking hammer hand.
It has the body plan of a gorilla with a sledgehammer on one hand.
Holy shit, this movie is like a lame version of Alita Battle Angel, which was already pretty lame to begin with. Oh my
God, you're right.
I just now put that together, that they're kind of the same.
I had almost forgotten that Alita Battle Angel existed.
They're working on a sequel, so...
Of course they are. And they're working on a sequel to this motherfucker. Okay, so, I don't know. They win the fight against that robot and get a lead on another fight. So they go on the road and they go to this hotel, and the kid teaches the robot to dance and drinks a lot of Dr. Pepper.
The kid's kind of a little meth head. Because in the beginning, Hugh Jackman gives him a can of something, and then he's like wired, and he's like, I can't sit in this car, man. I'm fucking losing my mind here. Wolverine.
Yeah, it seems like that was a maybe product placement that was dropped.
It could
after
be.
They shot it.
This doesn't make Red Bull look good. This kid's all fucking hyped up on Mountain Dew.
This kid is fiending and vibrating in the chair.
Yeah, the kid loves caffeine.
Yeah. The kid dances with the robot, and then they do some more fights. And like before every fight, the kid dances, and the robot mirrors.
It's really
it,
cringe, man. It
is.
Makes my skeleton crawl out of my fucking skin.
And it's like a 20-minute fucking run.
Yeah,
it is very long.
I hate it.
Eventually, they get to the undercard of like some kind of reasonable fight, and
I don't know if you are somebody who likes kids, is that endearing? Don't get me wrong, I don't dislike kids, but I also don't I don't have like an emotional, like I don't have kids, so I don't have anything other than like what am I trying to say? When I talk to kids, I tend to talk to them like an adult, because I know if I was a kid, that's how I would want to be talked to.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I don't have a good frame of reference for this, because while I do like kids, cut that out.
Oh, we just found our after credits.
But I really hate cute kids, like the kind of kids that appear in movies.
Yeah,
right?
They're always they're bad in movies. Kids are fine in real life. They're bad in movies.
This kid, any of the kids from Hook.
Oh, that's wrong. That's different. That movie's special.
Is it?
Rufio. Rufio.
Cut that. Um,
Anyway,
see, I don't know. This is the type of kid that I hate.
if you're watching this with your son, it's probably fun and endearing.
maybe other people like.
Maybe this we're just not this movie's audience, and we're being too hard on
I
it.
think that's the case.
I think that is the case, honestly.
Although the poster looks like it could be a movie directed at us.
Yeah. True.
Right? So, and they go to this fight and they win the fight. And then they get approached by the manager woman of the Zeus robot. And she's like, I want to buy your robot for $200,000. And
not of the zoo.
Fucking done deal.
The man. Oh, you said Zeus robot. I thought you said the Zeus.
Oh, yeah.
ZOO apostrophe S.
Yeah.
That's a similar word.
Yeah, we left the zoo like 30 minutes in screen time ago, but like 2 seconds in content ago.
Yeah.
She wants to buy the robot for $200K, and Wolverine's like, done.
Yeah, I would be too. Sorry, kid. I'm the adult here.
Yeah. So now they're in, and the kid's like, no, we aren't going to sell. So now they're going to fight in a league fight in this undercard. And here's the thing we haven't really mentioned. All the previous fights had been like underground shit in bars. I don't know.
Yeah.
And now we're in like big time, real quote marks, robot boxing.
Yeah.
I hate that sentence came out of my mouth. And then they immediately throw us for a fun loop because one of the things they have established is that, oh yeah, there are no rules in underground fucking boxing. Like this one robot like clamped their robot's foot to the ground so it couldn't get away. Yeah. That was the gorilla robot. And then in this first league fight where you would expect some sort of standardization, right?
Yes.
I mean, like it's this robot has 2 heads and 2 controller, like 2 people controlling it.
I don't see the problem.
Okay. Okay. So
the way I see it, the heads mean nothing. Nothing. You're not putting anything important in the head. You're putting all the important shit in the
2 people controlling it.
I mean, sure, works for BattleBots.
Okay. We beat this robot. Everybody's happy. Then the kid grabs the microphone from the announcer after the victory and
calls out.
Yeah, basically says, you Zeus people can fuck off. You want to buy my robot? Fuck you. Beat my robot.
I will say this is one of the more endearing moments to that child actor because he seemed into it and he was screaming and his voice sounded like a real kid screaming.
That part I did actually like it was seriously a kid screaming at the top of his lungs into a microphone, like going way past red.
Yeah. It endeared me to the kid a little bit. Like it seemed more real in this moment. So good for him. Dakota Goyo.
Yes. And also in that fight, a really funny thing about how we've now switched over Adam to almost fully voice controlled. Wolverine is able to have conversations with the kid mid-fight while the robot is voice controlled. He's standing there with a headset.
Yeah, he just puts his hand over it.
Saying like, right uppercut. So anyway, what this robot is going to do, as opposed to, making the moves you would need to do to win.
Yeah, paying attention to the fight. Seems like, no, he's got a bond.
Yeah. So anyway, they win the fight. It's all great. And then suddenly, thank God, after an hour and fucking 15 minutes, Kevin Durant shows up, beats the living shit out of Wolverine and the child.
Steals the kid's money.
Steals all their money. It's wonderful. And he is just a real piece of shit. So,
dude.
Wolvie's like
the hero of the story.
I guess this has not worked out well. And the next scene we see is basically Wolverine dropping off the kid with his aunt and uncle. And then he goes to Evangeline Lilly's and she's like, I don't know, she makes him feel bad. I mean, in like a 2-minute conversation. And then by the way, Evangeline Lilly dropped out of the movie for like an hour. There's one scene where he is like,
she was watching the fight at a bar.
That was just now. Yeah. She had dropped out of the movie for like an hour. There was one scene in the middle of it where Wolverine is like on the phone saying, Yeah, I'll give you. Yeah, we got a few more dates and fights out here. Yeah, I'll see you then. It's structurally weird.
Yeah.
So they drop the kid off. Eventually, Lily makes Wolverine feel bad. He goes and picks the kid up. It's like what is theoretically the central dramatic conflict of this film is set up, acted on, and resolved in no less than 5 minutes. It goes from, oh shit, I guess I'm going to have to give this kid up. This is dangerous for him. To, wow, I feel bad about giving the kid up. To, I got the kid back in less than 5 minutes. It's pretty fucking impressive.
Yeah, and to be honest, I was grateful. I didn't really want to sit through it all. I was like let's just get to the final boxing match.
I absolutely agree. And now we're 30 minutes from the end of the movie. Wolverine has already won the moral victory in being like, I don't know, this kid ain't so bad.
It's funny because you say that as if, and I don't even know structurally if it's a bad thing or if they made the right call doing that. Like,
I kind of think it was the right call. I mean, like, it's kind of a funny thing to include in there at this point. It's sort of like, you could have just lost that 5 minutes. You wouldn't have lost anything from the movie on the whole, right?
Anyway.
So now we're going to go and fight Zeus because Wolverine got a call that said the Zeus people want to fight. So we're going to do that. And then we go to this big fight, and it's Phil Lamar. One of the announcers is Phil Lamar, who is Hermes on Futurama, and Marvin in Pulp Fiction, who gets his head blown off in the back of the car.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, he is I don't know, for all the 45 seconds of screen time he has, he is a good boxing commentator.
Here, I'll describe this fight. Imagine all the other fights that have already happened, only about 4 times longer, because it's exactly the same.
It's more. And importantly, right before the fight, we see Anthony Mackie outside taking bets. He sees Kevin Durand. Kevin Durand is dismissive and bets $100,000 that Adam won't make the end of the first round. And apparently robot fights are five rounds. I don't know.
I think they went to 10, but maybe not.
No,
you might be right.
No, they're 5-round fights, which stuck out to me as weird. And also, I don't know how much time each round is.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Yeah. So anyway, they do the fight. There's Kevin Durand gets taken away by Anthony Mackie's goons and beaten up, we assume, at the end of the first round he's being
pretty low-key racist.
Yeah. I don't think it's low-key at all.
Yeah, he's being pretty racist, and Anthony Mackie gets to show up and be like, "Fuck you, motherfucker," and they go beat up a racist, which in this day and age could all use a little more of that.
Yeah. And I mean, I will say this for this movie, they got Michael, I can't remember his last name, the big fight announcer who says, "Let's get ready to rumble." Mm-hmm. It's very famous. So they got him to do that.
In fact, you owe him money now.
Yeah. And it's exactly what you would expect. At a certain point, the voice recognition breaks. So Wolverine's going to have to shadow box. He does so very slowly. They incorrectly demonstrate Muhammad Ali's famous rope-a-dope technique, where at a certain point, the big scary Zeus robot is beating up on the little Adam robot. So when Muhammad Ali did this to George Foreman, he got up against the ropes in the center, because then the punches, like, you can lean against the ropes and the ropes will take some of the force of the punches that giant George Foreman is doing to you. In this movie, the robot gets into the corner where everything is solid.
Very hard, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of crushing you between the
it's the exact opposite function of rope-a-doping, but
it works.
Apparently this is Wolverine's strategy.
He's
and
just
it
gonna
works.
wait. Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. He's going because apparently these things have gas. This has not been
Yeah.
shown yet, but they have like energy that they can run out of. I mean,
Yeah.
Zeus never thought he'd have to go a full fight. He knocks everybody out in the first round.
Yeah. So anyway, the fight ends, and it goes to the judges, and Zeus wins by decision. But
It's so
Adam
stupid
wins the
because
moral victory.
they're trying to do the Rocky thing, but yet also it's very clear at the end of the fight if there'd been another 5 seconds in the round, Adam would have won. So you can see it with your eyes that Adam won, and then they make the judge's decision so close that they don't even really do the Rocky thing. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's like I don't remember what the actual scores were, but they were broadly like 46-44.
And we all saw the first couple rounds where Adam was getting tossed.
Yeah.
Like the ability to take a punch doesn't mean you're scoring points with the judges.
No, it
anyway,
does not.
Never mind. It's a stupid thing to get worked up about in a movie that doesn't matter.
Anyway, the movie ends. The kid ends up on fucking Wolverine's shoulders. I don't know. Somebody does a dance or something. Everybody's happy. The encore there, and the movie's over. We're done. Oh, and I think it's at this point that Wolverine kisses Kate from Lost.
He kissed her when he went back to see her at that weird spot because she said travel 1,200 miles for a kiss, and he says, "Worth it."
That's right.
So worth it.
I was like total that whole middle montage section. I was just zoned the fuck out both times. Yeah. Okay. That was a movie we watched. It's like this is going to be almost impossible for me to rate because it is very competent.
Why would you rate it? How would you rate the story? It's a boring story. I've seen 11 million times. So 3.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's kind of like it was totally fine. It was also totally predictable. Like there wasn't a single thing in this movie that surprised me for even a 10th of a second.
I would say when Kevin Durant came back, it didn't surprise me. I was like fully expected it, but it was like, but they did do a good enough job of making me forget about him. That I was like, oh yeah, I forgot he was going to come back. So I guess that kind of counts.
Yeah. Hey, and I'm glad you get that experience. Like that's not something I get because when I'm watching these movies, I'm like, Kevin Durant was in this movie for 2 minutes earlier. They didn't hire him for 2 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
That's always at the back of my mind. Although, truly, the presence of James Rebhorn in this movie is mystifying.
Underutilized. What would you rate it, the story?
I don't know. I guess 3. Like, it's competently executed, but fuck, I was bored.
Influence.
None. I don't 1?
I'm going to say 1. I don't know why. I feel like that's being generous, but I'm going to say 1.
I mean, they didn't I don't know. It would have been better had they made it like 50 years in the future and had some like future cars in the background or something. I don't know.
I mean, what the movie is underground robot fighter traveling from town to town, making his living. And then, I don't know, whatever. The kid story was so that you could take your kids to it. Whatever. I get why they do the kid story. It's just boring and been done so many fucking times. Prescience.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of brands that exist. I'll give it that.
No, they don't exist anymore. A lot of them.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 1.
I don't know, man. Robot boxing?
Dude. Humans are getting bloodthirsty. We do want to see more death every day. Do you think that they're actually going to pivot to robots? They're just going to let humans kill each other. So
I think instead we will have cage fights in Central Asian republics ruled by autocrats. So yeah, I'm going to give this a wait. What category was this?
Prescience.
Yeah, it's a 1.
I mean, it barely counts because it basically takes place during our time.
Yeah.
Style?
None? No. Okay, that's not fair.
Okay, here's my argument for style.
Yeah.
Beginning of the movie, after he loses to the bull, Hugh Jackman's walking back to his car and he's got like some button-down shirt with the sleeves ripped off and a tie.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah, he was playing big-time fight promoter.
That gets it a point in my book.
I think I was being unfair style-wise. Number 1, like all the robots look cool.
Yeah,
I mean, for some value of cool.
Yeah.
And especially, which makes sense because he's the main dude, Adam. He's got like all these weird flywheels and fans and shit.
Yeah.
Like when you see a bunch of close-ups, it is a cool but also slightly hokey, not meant to look cool. I'm doing a lot of air quotes all over this shit.
No, I get what you're saying.
Robot.
Shabby chic.
Yeah, it really looks like they're trying to do some sort of, I don't know, Adam punk robot.
Yeah. And so, the junkyard robot, we both acknowledge, looked pretty cool, especially the way he like dripped coolant from his mouth. That was neat. Yeah, and all the robots are like, the CG in this movie is immaculate. It's another one of those movies. And
I'm going to go back to it. Hugh Jackman's 1960 International truck. So this movie gets a 3.5 for style.
Wow, that's a lot. I'm going to say 3.
Dude, that truck is worth so much.
All right. Hand raisers. How much you like it?
I like this a 1 hand raiser.
1 hand raiser? Yeah.
Like I'm
going to go 1.5. I don't know why. I'm
giving it that 1 because like I can't actually pull anything out of this that I hate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
Did you know this movie was nominated for an Academy Award?
No, I did not. I didn't do a lot of research because...
It popped up when I... on
Sound
Amazon.
design?
I believe it's Best Achievement in Visual Effects.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Yeah, hey, would you like to know about this movie's release?
Yeah, real quick.
Okay, so...
We're at Tight 90, well, almost.
Yeah, okay. So this came out October 7, 2011. It was the number 1 release that weekend, making $8.5 million.
Nice.
I think it made... Well, what did it make in total? I have that somewhere in here. It looks like it made 110 million American and 300 worldwide. So,
Not bad.
can you think of what, like, the first week of October? You know, that's when the hits come out. Can you think of anything?
That's when I came out of my mother's vagina.
That's true.
Gross.
You know what other movie would come out that week?
2011?
A movie with a specific date in the title.
2012?
2011.
No, I mean, I was guessing 20, because there's a Mayan apocalypse thing. No, I have no fucking idea.
That's true. The Ides of March. That's definitely a movie you want to release the first week of October.
Yeah, that sounds stupid.
Yeah, that was Ryan Gosling and George Clooney, I think. It's like
right,
a political
I'm back
thriller.
in. I'm back in.
I never saw it. Drama, political thriller. Number 3, animated film. I'm 100% certain you haven't seen, but Martin Scorsese does a voice in it.
Shark Tale.
Dolphin Tale. Actually, I think maybe you're right, and Dolphin Tale is like this. No, wait. Oh, no, I'm totally wrong. This is some insane shit I've never seen before in my life. It's live action. Oh my god.
It's called Dolphin Tale?
Yeah, I was thinking it was Shark Tale.
No, Shark Tale's definitely the name of a cartoon that Martin Scorsese has a voice in.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay. Oh, holy shit. Okay, so starring in this movie. This is insane. This is fucking deranged. Okay, Harry Connick Jr., Ashley Judd, Chris Christopherson, Morgan Freeman.
Nice.
I have never heard of this movie before.
That's a lot of old folks.
It makes me ill to consider it. Okay, number 4 at the box office. One of your favorite movies on TikTok.
Oh, TikTok. Moneyball?
Mm-hmm.
Classic TikTok movie to watch.
Exactly.
It is in spurts.
It is in its 3rd week. It is, this week it made $2.5 million.
Turns out Moneyball was bad and did bad things to the sport and was incorrect in a lot of its assertions. But goddamn, it's a good movie.
The movie is solid.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't. Yeah. Okay. Number 5, a movie starring Seth Rogen and Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
The cancer one?
50-50.
Yeah.
Number 6, a movie I've never heard of.
Well, I can't guess that one. I'm sorry.
It is called Courageous. Would you like to hear about this fucking movie?
And if you do it really fast, because we were about to hit our time limit perfectly this episode, now we're blowing it.
Well, fuck that then. Any other good movies in here? Okay, the 2011 Lion King 3D re-release.
I thought that was
it
more
number
recent.
8? No, this is they 3Dized the cartoon from the 90s.
Oh, okay.
Number 9 is Contagion, a movie that has had no relevance in the past 5 years whatsoever.
Nope, not at all.
Is
that the one where Gwyneth Paltrow dies in the beginning?
Is that right? Yes, I think so. It's a Soderbergh movie. Is that Gwyneth Paltrow? Yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow dies in the beginning of one of those.
I think
that might have been Outbreak, actually. I think it was Outbreak where she dies.
No, Outbreak is like fucking 97.
Oh, you're right. That's older.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I
Gwyneth
think
Paltrow
right.
definitely dies in one of those movies.
Scrolling down the list real quick, number 14 was Drive. I liked that movie pretty well.
The Scorpion Jacket?
Yes, Scorpion Jacket. Number 17, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
17. We're going all the way to 17.
We are.
Have you been in a theater with 17 movies playing in it at once?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the fucking Cinemark 30 by our old house, dude.
But usually they have like multiples of the big
That's
movie.
true.
It's like Real Steel would have had like 8 theaters.
Also out at this time, Captain America: The First Avenger in its like 15th week, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and of course, Cowboys and Aliens.
I saw that at a drive-in.
It has Harrison Ford in it. No human can deny that.
All right. That
that's
was
it.
an exciting episode. I'm glad you guys all sat through that. How do you feel? I'm talking to. Let's check in with our listeners.
Once again, I would love to apologize from the bottom of my heart to our listeners.
I mean, maybe, like we said, this movie just might not be for us, and other people might get a whole lot more out of it than we did, and that's fine. I think the movie is competently told enough that if you liked it, I wouldn't tell you you're wrong and be like,
it is different from almost everything we've done on this podcast in terms of like, this movie is not a piece of dog shit that makes me sick to my stomach. It just makes my eyes glaze over and be bored.
Yeah. It's a testament to the fact that we should probably like at least read synopses before we pick movies.
Things first. We don't need to vet it.
No. So we know it's super cyberpunk. We're going back into the actual cyberpunk shit.
Hell yes.
Next week. Go ahead. You go.
We are watching 1988's Appleseed.
The anime, if you're unfamiliar.
Yeah, it was one of like 4 anime video cassette tapes that I had in 1993.
If you were a nerd in the 90s, you loved anime, and it was, especially if you lived in Kansas, it was very hard to get. So you treasured those tapes and watched them a million times.
There were like 7 available.
In the state.
In the state, yes.
I remember we had rather than go to one of the school dances like homecoming or something, we had an anime party at my house. I don't know if you were invited to that or not. We might not have been friends yet. But because it was like freshman year or something. But yeah, we watched
Ninja Scroll that time.
I know we watched Fist of the North Star because it was the first time I'd seen it.
Yeah.
And I think we watched Vampire Hunter D and maybe Ninja Scroll.
I don't have any specific memory of that.
You might have actually been at the dance.
No, that doesn't seem likely.
I know.
I went to 2 of those, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, I definitely saw all those movies with you.
That's how you had to watch anime as a kid. Like gather your friends together and watch it on VHS. It was fun. Anyway, we'll be back and watch Appleseed next week. Hopefully with a guest if everything goes well.
Yep.
And that's it. I'm sure Josh has collected just a number of quotes to send us out on.
Fucking hell.
There's so many good ones.
My tabs already.
Let me see if I can find one. This is what the kid says. And I'm holding my mic just like he did. The People's Champion? Sounds pretty good to me. Bye.
Bye.
This podcast is the People's Champion of podcasts.
Are you kidding me with those eyes? Because kids they do puppy dog eyes.
Kenton must have hardwired this bot with the will to go on.
Oh.
I'll pick one of those.
I don't want your money, Marvin. The money that I, strong-armed you into giving me.
Oh, God damn it. Why are we still here?
I don't know. Let's end this.
You screwed me. Nice mouth.
Your friend's a real dirtbag, kid. He's my father. Well, looks like a little less than an inch of your life, right, buddy?
That one requires a little context.
It does, but it gives a shit. Holy shit, it's Tak Machito.
Bye, everybody. Goodbye.
Stop it. Yeah, bye.
This has been the High Tech Low Life podcast. Find us on Twitter at Johnny60seconds, email us at hightechlowlifepodcast@gmail.com, and find us on Patreon at patreon.com/hightechlowlife. Theme music by Nihilor at nihilor.com. Thank you for listening.
Keep it moving. Come on, what are you waiting on? Let's go.
They're trashing our rights, man! They're trashing the fluid data! They're trashing! Hide the planet!
Shut up and get in the car.
I do like kids. Cut that out.